Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Um, so I'm going to be about 1450-ish effective with the villain in this hand.
Okay.
So like a good player opens from under the gun. We're at a full table. He opens from under the gun to 20. And then I pick up ace-king from middle position. So I 3-bet it to 55.
Ace-king off.
With ace of diamonds, king of clubs.
Ace of diamonds, king of clubs to 55. Okay.
55.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then the main villain in the hand, he's a pretty splashy player. I mean, he's like one of the guys that the game is built around. He flat calls.
From where?
My 3-bet. So he was probably, if I was middle position, he was probably like cut off.
So he flat
Not
calls
on the
your
button
3-bet.
yet.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the under the gun, everyone else folds. The under the gun player calls as well. So we're 3-handed to the flop.
Okay.
And we got about 155 in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the flop is ace of hearts, king of spades, 4 of spades.
So top two.
Yeah, I flop top 2.
Okay.
So under the gun checks. I bet out 85, and the villain calls, and the under the gun folds. So pretty standard up to this point.
So you say that villain 2 is so action, he could have like just calling with an ace or something like that, right? Here.
He's not, yeah, like if he called like with, say, ace 8 suited,
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely not folding for
Right.
one bet,
Right,
on the flop for sure.
Right.
So, like, but I think he's probably letting go of tens because he views me as a fairly tight player.
Right,
Like,
but
I
he
think
probably can
just
easily
folds
have an
tens.
ace here, though. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He can easily have an ace.
Okay.
So we go to the turn. I got about 325 in there in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
And the turn is a deuce of diamonds, so pretty much a total brick.
Okay.
So my first question is this call is pretty much all about the turn. So like, how would you size your turn bet with that card?
So the pot's 345, and you guys have put in maybe 150. So I think you've got 1,200 behind ish. Pot's like 340 to 350. I would size up. I mean, I don't.
You would size up.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
because the thing is that when you look at somebody's, so think about ranges, right? When you think of somebody's 3-bet call range here, you're not, like you said, this guy's sort of an action player, and like you had just said, like, ace 8 suited, something like that. He's probably not going to be calling the 3-bets cold with like kings, calling flop and calling turn. This is a really, really good spot for you because of the fact that he has a lot of aces in his hand in this spot that he's going to basically continue to call you down with. If he's that much action, I would probably bet at least 250, and I wouldn't expect him to fold. Just exponentially build the pot up. You know what I mean? It's different than like, it's different than like some other board where, he might be piecing off or something like that. But I don't think he's calling you on the flop really all that light, and his calling range doesn't really like get any weaker on the turn. Like that turn card doesn't really improve anyone's hand. If he has the best hand with an ace, he still has it. If he was beat, he's still beat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes I struggle with my image. I think that a lot of these action guys will fold to my continued aggression on the turn when I have a strong hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like I was just thinking, like, if he did call me with ace 8 or ace 7 suited, I think there's a chance that he lets it go for a quote big bet. You know what I mean? Like a $250 bet on the turn. I don't know. So that's where my thoughts were with it. So I bet 150. I mean, and again, I'm just trying to tag him along pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks about it for a second, and now he raises to 360. So it's 210 more for me to call. And at this point, I I guess I could always raise again, and if I raise again, like what sizing should I go with, or
Hmm.
do you think I should flat the turn here and play a river? Um,
Well, I mean,
so
so
I
he's
do
got.
know if
So I'm gonna throw
I
out.
did count my stack. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna throw out the fact that he has 5-3, all that much here. Just I don't know if he's gonna call 5-3 pre and then call the flop. So let's just throw that out. So you're
Yeah.
losing to
Okay.
pocket fours here, and then the hands that he would do this with, ace four and ace deuce. I'm gonna assume that he would play those suited, and I'm looking at the suit distributions. If you have them correctly, he can have three ace deuce. No, he can have two
Two
ace deuce
aces suited.
suited, and then he can have one ace four suited. So that's three. So that's three ace four and two ace deuce, and then three pocket fours. But then he
Yep.
could also be raising with other hands because your
Like
sizing's so small on the turn. I don't know. I mean, if you bet 150 and he makes it
right, right.
360, like I could see
And
bet
like
three bet. It really depends on the player. If he's really bad, I might even bet three bet the turn and just bet on the river because if you call, are you just gonna let it go check at the end? You know what I mean? Against a normal
so if
person, it's a little bit different.
yeah, I mean if I called, I'm probably going to lead like a non-spade river. That would be that was my thinking at the time. If I called, because like I did think there was a possibility that he was taking the nut flush draw, like ace eight, ace 10, ace jack, ace seven, all those spades, and like raising the turn, and then if he doesn't hit the river, hopefully that will get me to slow down, and he gets to check the river behind me.
Well, ace x of spades is right. That's another hand that he can have, but I don't agree with that logic. If you think your hand is strong enough to lead the river on a blank spade, then you should just bet three bet now on the turn.
Okay,
Do you see what I'm
so
saying?
I have
I don't understand. I can't really see how calling and then leading the river really does anything. Like I said, if your hand is strong enough, the only reason why you would call here instead of bet three bet is that if you think that hands that he might be doing this with would fold if you three bet that for value, which I don't doesn't sound like this guy was ever capable of raise folding, or he actually has more hands that beat you than you beat him. And you're just calling because of the pot. I mean, you're calling because you're getting a price, but you don't have an equity edge to three bet. Your equity edge isn't more than 50%, right? To three bet. But I don't. But calling and then leading a non-spade river doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
okay, okay.
Um.
Um, so I elected to go ahead and three bet it.
Okay.
Um, because I don't know. I thought it was a possibility that he had, a pair of aces with the nut flush draw, and I thought he would have a hard time folding that.
Yep.
And ace four and ace deuce, like you said, if he happens to have those hands, I think he's going to have a hard time folding that as well.
Hmm.
So now it's just a question of my sizing. If after I call the 360, I have about a one pot size bet left. So is the best play just to shove in, even though it looks like it's just a enormous bet for the game?
No, I would just make it like 600 and then bet all in
Yeah.
at the
Okay.
end. Yeah.
At all. I mean, even if it's a spade at that point.
Um. I mean, a spade could be a little bit hairy if you do think he's got ace x of spades or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would still probably go 600 and then see what happens at the end. So, what did you three bet to?
I ended up just jamming, and it was like I counted down my stack, and it was 960 more. It
Okay.
ended up being just under a pot size bet,
Okay.
and he folded. He didn't snap fold or anything. He tanked and then folded. So, I was just questioning my bet sizing there
Well,
on
I
the
mean,
turn.
the other thing too is that you unintentionally, it seems like by sort of betting small on the turn, you might have gotten him to raise fold an ace, like ace jack, like or something like that. Like he thought that you were weak on the turn, whereas if you had just bet larger on the turn, you just would have called down.
Right, right.
Do you
Yeah,
see what I'm
I see what
saying?
you're saying. Yeah.
So you get in
All
these
right.
weird spots. I mean, hey, we've been talking a lot about small sizing and stuff lately on the site, but Not so much like on later streets, but more on earlier streets where the ranges are a lot wider. But once you get to this turn, okay, it's a lot of value because of what we talked about, like where the guy's range is here in a cold call 3-bet pot and a flop call. Um, so especially with somebody next to act too. Remember, he's not closing the action on the flop, right? Check, you bet. He's next to act. There's a
Yeah.
guy behind him, so he's got to be pretty
Yeah.
strong there to
Sure.
call. So, anyways, thanks for the call.
Right. Right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.